Yeah, yeah, yeah. Here we have the iPhone 11 that I've been using for a few weeks, and just thought I'd give an update on how this experience has been going, and it's cute. Hey everybody, welcome back to Montide. I am your host Kyle Jobs, and today I am going to be reviewing the iPhone 11, more specifically comparing it to coming from 10 years of Android use. Even more specific, using the Samsung smartphones over the past few years. And yeah, it's purple, big whoop. Want to fight about it? So let's run through some of the differences of the last entry-level iPhone, the XR. The wide camera lens is the same, but they've added the new ultra-wide 2.4 aperture lens. Also adding the night mode, audio zoom, which is dope. I actually like these pastel color schemes. This purple is cute. It's real cute. They've added a 256 gigabyte option. They've added another meter or 3 feet to go underwater with. They've added the A13 Bionic chip, an upgrade from the A12. And the front got an updated 12 megapixel shooter and can record in 4K and that slow-mo that you've seen from their promos. Bars! Lastly, now they've added Wi-Fi 6, among other things. The weight and other dimensions are the same despite adding the camera and having a slightly larger battery, which is professed to add an extra hour of battery life, though that also has something to do with improvements in processing. And yes, this is the iPhone 11, not the iPhone 11 Pro. Sorry for anybody who's coming to look for how the camera is, all that stuff. Camera's good. It's not the best, but it's good. First impressions. It took forever for this thing to transfer my data over from my Samsung S10 Plus. It took over an hour and a half to get into the main screen of the phone, and it was only 1.1 gigabytes transferred. Although it's the least expensive phone in the lineup, it doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel cheap at all. Still feels pretty sturdy and a solid phone. I do like the aesthetics of it. It's very smooth, has a nice hold to it. Feels comfortable in your hand. With the newer phones, I see a lot of people complain about phones being too slick or slippery. Personally, I don't care about that. It's fine with me. What's good? I was actually pleasantly pleased with some very minute details about the phone. Like getting an app is really quick. With Android, I would have to wait for it to download and then wait for it to install. With this, it just shows that circle and it's loading and it's there. I can use it immediately. That's kind of cool. The ambient light sensor works really well on this phone in lowering the screen brightness. I really don't like bright things, so when I'm in a dark room or it's dark outside, I want my screen to go down to a point where it's comfortable for my eyes. With my Android phones, I always had to turn down the brightness even after it adjusted itself. But this, I don't. Their Office suite is pretty simple to use. I really enjoyed that actually. Pages, Keynote, and Numbers. It's super clean and it's fine-tuned for mobile use. The Face ID works really well. It's pretty quick and seems to be robust. Not like on my Samsung phone where it's literally just a picture and there's no 3D rendering. Although the vibration on the phone is a little weaker than what I'm used to, but I actually really like the fact that I can customize how I make it vibrate. That sounds wrong. I like the customization of create your own vibration pattern. And of course, the go-tos, why people buy an iPhone. iMessage, it's better than anything Android has ever made in terms of messaging when it comes to practical use. And simply put, it's just more fun to use. Once you're signed into your Apple account, you can access your messages anywhere, all in similar or the same quality. And they add other features to make it more user engaging, which is truly something fun and happy. But on Android, I hated it because I don't want to see that somebody liked a text message because then they send me the whole text message all over again. I don't care. iOS is great and it's easy to use. No matter what iPhone you pick up, it's always going to function the same. With Android, you have a lot of manufacturers making phones, and they're also developing their own user interface software that they layer on top of the Android operating system. So that provides a lot of variance, and each company's phone might operate a little different. But again, with the iPhone, everything's the same. with the obvious caveat that they're upgraded to the same iOS ecosystem. Everything is Apple. I don't have other Apple products, but I would imagine that since they are all Apple, they would integrate with each other seamlessly. Case in point with iMessage, I know that if I have it on my phone, if I have it on my MacBook, if I have it on my iPad, I know they're all going to receive messages at the same time and with the same quality. And lastly, the battery life on this thing, cuz, it's crazy. With pretty heavy use, I was able to not charge the thing for a day and still have plenty of juice by the end of the night. And that's a day starting at 7 a.m. The other cool thing is its screen off power save settings, whatever you want to call it, is pretty impressive. I don't like to charge my phones while I sleep, so I would wake up and have the battery only drain 1 to 2%. But now let's get into what's not so good. A lot of these are direct inverses from the things that were good, like the screen. You gotta figure to make a $700 iPhone that you're compromising on something somewhere, and I would say look no further than the screen itself. I think that's also the reason why the battery is so great, because the screen is very dull, it's very lackluster, not a lot of vibrant colors, and truly it's just, The screen is 6.1 inches with the notch, with a resolution of 1792 by 828, which is 326 pixels per inch, which is not even full HD. Why? It's weird to me because the Google Pixel 3a XL came out prior to the 11 with a higher resolution and for $120 cheaper. The 3a XL has 402 pixels per inch and is essentially a 2K display. And now on to the rest, which is the reason people don't pick iPhones. Of course, customization or the lack thereof. I just can't do much with it. When I download an app, everything goes to the home screen. Now I can put those in folders, but with the iPhone, when I connect to something with Bluetooth, I just connect to something with Bluetooth, and it uses whatever that Bluetooth can offer. Bluetooth with my Android, I can go into those Bluetooth settings and change what I want that device to have access to. I can turn on and off if I want to use that device for wireless calling or for just audio streaming. And then there's brevity. When I'm using my phone, I want to complete a task in as few touches as possible. A lot of these are down to the minute details of customization, but there are things that I literally use. With typing, I use my phone for typing a lot. That's where I do most of my writing. I can't type within a word and just adjust things from there. I have to hold and scroll over, but I can't always see if my thumb's in the way. Tapping goes to the beginning of the word or the end of the word, nowhere in between. That adds some time for me. The ability to just hit the back button and go back to the last thing I was doing. But I see iOS has added a feature where if you go to something that's from the drop-down notifications, then you can select in the top left corner to go back to that previous app. For instance, if you're in your email and then you tap something and you go to a website, you can hit that top left button and then it will take you back to the email. Or you can close out and reopen the email. But then that tab in the website is still open. If I hit back with Android, it closes that tab and takes me back to my previous app used. Clearing apps has to be one by one. I can't just hit close all and everything goes away. Freedom. I idolize freedom, I guess you can say. I don't like to feel constrained. With the iPhone, I do feel constrained, unfortunately. For so long, I've been doing so many things, but now I have a phone that I can't do them on. And that wouldn't be a problem if I didn't know I could do them. But since I know, it makes it difficult to take a step back. And like how as a pro, it's also a con that everything is Apple. Reason being, not a lot of things work well with Apple. If you want to expand your Apple ecosystem, it's going to take a lot of financial investment to get there because nothing they make is cheap. You can find Android things at any price point. The quality of said items may be questionable, but it's still manageable. You can do it. And then some experts say it's better to diversify your tech so that not one company has access to all of your data, but you can split it up amongst different companies. Personally, I think that's just a matter of preference. But to answer the question that everybody came here for, am I switching to the iPhone? No, I'm not. And it's the reason that most people don't switch their phones, because there hasn't been anything to prove to them more useful than what they already have. Or we just can't afford it. All in all, iPhone is a great phone. I now understand the lore of iPhones for Apple users. They're simple to use, they're very user-friendly, and they're great for the get-up-and-go users that aren't looking to do a lot of customization to truly make the phone their own. Although I do think they want that customization, because if you look at the iPhone case market, there's so many of them with so much variation, with so much personality. So why not just come over to the light and quit playing these games? Thanks for watching. Join me next Thursday for another tech video. Deuces.
Is the elephant heavy? I'm coming back, baby.